Yeah, no, I have to say I'm a little disappointed in today's action, but not surprised. I think the market continues to be fragile, given all the uncertainty, when inflation peaks, how we're seeing economic growth slowing in so many categories, whether it's housing, commodity prices off, wages, are moderating, job postings are down. There's more pauses in hiring in the all-important tech sector. So I think there's a lot of nervousness out there, but people are waiting to see, what happens. We've now got about 20% of the S&P 500 reporting, 70% have beat earnings, and the misses have not, with the exception of a few notable misses, they have not been bad. And it looks like a lot of the market is discounting an awful lot of bad news already. So this is not unexpected because I think we're going to continue to have volatility. But my guess is we've put the low in the markets, that this 9% rise since the low levels in June, is going to be is putting some good work in.
Lows in the markets. All right, let's get to American Express. That is the best performer in the Dow today after beating Wall Street's profit and revenue estimates thanks to record spending on entertainment and travel, including a big increase in business travel. The company also raising its full-year revenue forecast. Leslie Picker joins us now. So, Leslie, recession fears. We heard all the fears from the big bank CEOs. The tone from Amex seems a lot more positive.
Well, it really comes down to the type of consumer we're talking about here, Melissa. Steven Squeri, who's the CEO of Amex, was asked about this on the call, and he basically said it's as simple as just our customers have more money to spend. So the impact of things like inflation, of other concerns surrounding the economy, not so big of a factor for the people who were using Amex cards for spending. Additionally, they got this massive tailwind from the big boon in travel and entertainment spending, even though we're 2.5 years into this pandemic, or since the start of the pandemic, there's been a massive ramp up in that type of spending during the second quarter. They saw the effects of this. Now, during the analyst call, a lot of analysts were asking whether this is kind of a pull forward that would normalize throughout the rest of the year. But he said basically we don't see that happening. We see continued strength, and we don't see a recession for the next few quarters. So somewhat different than what we heard from with the big CEOs of the big banks last week and earlier this week, because they look at more of an aggregated picture of spending in the economy.
That's, it's amazing that he said that he doesn't see slowdown. I mean, if you look, spending rose to a record, up 50%, surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Barbara, I don't know if you buy that, if you buy what the CEO is saying, and not to disparage the CEO in his own forecasting, but to think that the consumer is in a better place right now and will keep up spending as they are potentially facing the headwinds of a recession, that seems extremely optimistic.
Yeah, well, Melissa, it is the question all investors are trying to answer through this earnings report. You had the banks report last week. J.P. Morgan, even though Jamie Dimon's, trying to prepare everybody for what may lie ahead, because when you raise interest rates, as quickly as the Fed is, it usually does not mean good things for the consumer. But the consumer is very, very strong. And what you're seeing, I think, is not only because of jobs and wages, but also tremendous savings. And you look at even housing. There's the vast majority are 3% fixed rate mortgages. There's huge leverage potential there. And so the fact that American Express, what intrigued me was that they raised their estimates of revenue growth going forward a full 5 percentage points. That is huge. They went to 23 to 25%. That is because they're looking at their book. They know that they are not new to this business. They know what these trends mean. So to go out there and do that so aggressively tells me a lot that they are pretty confident the consumer is going to keep spending. And one other point, too, which I found interesting on the business spending, was both international and business was up hugely. Business spending was up, business travel I'm talking about, was up probably over 200%, but it's still only 60% of pre-pandemic levels. That is a lot of room for growth. And as we know, businesses are trying to find their way back. How do we do a hybrid work week? What do we do? So I think that still has a lot of potential, to continue to power things higher, at least for American Express.